My driver brought his girlfriend along every single morning when he picked me up for work. Since it was on the way, I never said anything about it. Until the day I opened the car door and found a note taped to my usual spot in the back seat. No freeloaders allowed. I ripped the note off and held it up. What is this? The driver's girlfriend glared at me from the passenger seat. What's the matter? Can't you read? Every day you're all over my boyfriend's car like you own it. You got no shame? If you can't afford a ride, stay home. I'm so sick of freeloaders like you. I stared at her, baffled. My driver rushed over to my side, dropping his voice. Miss Shaw, my girlfriend doesn't know I'm your driver. She's just, possessive. She only put that there because she's crazy about me. He hesitated, then added, also, she's not super comfortable with you in the car. Let me drop her off first, and I'll swing back for you. Then he climbed into my car and drove off, leaving me standing there. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. Hi, a man and a woman just stole my car. Please send someone immediately. I never imagined that, as the CEO of a publicly traded company, someone would spit in my face and call me a freeloader. And the car in question was my own. 20 minutes after I called, a sheriff's deputy cruiser pulled up to the curb. The two deputies barely had time to step out and ask what happened before Dean Lewis came screeching back in my black Cadillac Escalade. He slammed the brakes right in front of me, jumped out, his face bone white. Miss Shaw, what's going on? Why did you call the cops? I looked at him and said nothing. The deputy looked him over. Are you the man Miss Shaw says took her vehicle without permission? Dean's composure cracked instantly. No, officer. This is all a misunderstanding. I'm Miss Shaw's driver. I drive for her every day. I just gave someone a quick lift on the way. It only took a few minutes. There's no car theft here. He gestured at the Escalade with a strained smile. See? I brought it right back. The deputy glanced between us. Miss Shaw, do you still want to pursue this? Before I could answer, Dean leaned in close, his voice dropping to a desperate whisper. Miss Shaw, please let this slide. For my dad. He drove for you for years. You know his health's been bad. I finally found a girlfriend and I did it for him, To give him some peace of mind. I just panicked back there. I was just trying to hold things together with her. I didn't know what else to do. When Dean brought up his father, I hesitated. Hank Lewis was my driver for 6 years. Honest, steady, never caused a single problem. Not one late arrival, not one traffic ticket. Every holiday, he'd refuse the cash bonuses I gave him, waving them off until I practically forced them into his hands. 3 months ago, they found something in his lungs. He needed long-term treatment and had to step down. His last day, he stood in my office rubbing his rough hands together, struggling to get the words out. Finally, he told me his son Dean had just lost his job. If the company had an opening, if it wasn't too much trouble, could I give him a chance? That man never asked for a single thing his whole life. That was the first time. I said yes for his sake. Dean's first 2 months were decent enough. He wasn't the most reliable driver I'd ever had, but he showed up on time and kept the car clean. That changed last month. The morning Dean pulled up and I saw a woman in the passenger seat caked in makeup. I didn't know what to make of it. Dean rushed around to open my door, lowering his voice. Miss Shaw, this is my girlfriend, Tiffany Locke. Her job's on the way to your office, so I figured I'd give her a lift. I nodded. No big deal. Just a ride. That's what I thought at the time. The so-called favor became a fixed daily arrangement. Every morning, Dean picked up Tiffany first, then came for me. At first, Tiffany just took selfies in the passenger seat, posting videos online, showing off that she was riding in a Cadillac Escalade. Fine. A little vanity. I understood that. What I couldn't understand was the way she looked at me. Pure contempt. Like I owed her millions. A few times, she even sprayed perfume directly toward me after I got in, complaining loudly. God, this is so annoying. Why does a car this nice always smell like a cheap loser? I assumed she'd caught some actual odor and told Dean to get the car detailed. Instead, she escalated. She started sanitizing my seat the second I got out. Then she put down disposable seat covers just for me. When I confronted Dean about it, he gave me the same sheepish excuse. Miss Shaw, Tiffany's just worried the car might get dirty. She's really on top of the whole cleanliness thing. She just doesn't want anything getting on your clothes. I let it go. I had billion-dollar deals in motion. I didn't have the bandwidth to fight with some girl over seat covers. Then came this morning. I saw the note taped to my seat and it all clicked. Tiffany thought I was the freeloader. I'd planned to teach them both a lesson. But now Dean stood there begging. I swear, Miss Shaw, it won't ever happen again. I'll clear everything up with Tiffany tonight. No more rides for her. Please, for my father's health, let this go. I thought of Hank. I exhaled.
Fine.
I'm letting this one go. After the deputies left, Dean sagged with relief, thanking me over and over. His attitude couldn't have been better. I got in and let him drive me to the office. For a while after that, Dean actually straightened up. The passenger seat stayed empty. The car was pristine, every trace of that note gone. He drove smoothly. No real issues. Except for one thing. He was always late. He had an excuse every time. Miss Shaw, sorry. Nasty wreck on the freeway. Traffic was backed up for miles. Miss Shaw, really sorry. My alarm didn't go off. I just slept through it. Miss Shaw, a pipe burst in my apartment. I had to deal with the downstairs neighbor the whole morning. The excuses were flimsy, but his attitude seemed decent, so I let it slide. I thought that was the end of it. Then came the weekend. I decided, on a whim, to spend a couple of days at my lakeside estate. I called Dean. Where are you right now? I need to go somewhere. Come pick me up. He stammered on the other end. Miss Shaw, I woke up this morning and found a flat tire. It's at the shop now, and they said it won't be ready until tomorrow. Where did you need to go? I can call you a ride. I frowned, not wanting the hassle. Forget it. I'll just take a cab. I hung up and called a rideshare to my estate. When I arrived at the gate, I froze. My Escalade was parked right outside, perfectly intact. I stared at it for several seconds, confirming it was definitely my car. Then I strode toward the front door. It was slightly ajar. I pushed it open and couldn't process what I saw. The living room was a war zone. Empty bottles, fruit rinds, shells, and cigarette butts covered every surface. My furniture, pieces worth a fortune, was stamped with footprints. Cigarette burns had eaten black holes into the fabric in half a dozen places. My fists clenched. I'd bought this estate specifically as a retreat. Every piece of furniture, every finish, I'd chosen myself. I kept it pristine. And now these people had trashed it. I swept my gaze across the room and found Tiffany Locke sprawled on the couch facing the door. She was surrounded by friends. Tiffany, oh my God, you hit the jackpot. A boyfriend this loaded, right?
And he worships you.
You said you wanted a pumpkin spice latte, and he literally ran out the door to get you one. Don't forget about us when you're a rich trophy wife. Tiffany's smile was wide and smug. Then her eyes shifted and found me standing in the doorway. Her face dropped. She clicked toward me in her heels and, without a word, slapped me hard across the face. Smack. You bitch. You followed my boyfriend here? The impact stunned me. The room went wide-eyed. Tiffany, what's happening? Tiffany sneered, jabbing her finger at me. This is the freeloader I told you about. Riding my boyfriend's car wasn't enough. Now she's trying to move in on his house. I stared at her in disbelief. Who told you this house belongs to Dean? Tiffany let out a sharp laugh.
He did.
You think I don't know what you're after? You saw my boyfriend's a CEO, and you've been throwing yourself at him every chance you get. The car, the alone time, and now you show up at his estate trying to hook up with him? Dean told me he only drives you because you're an employee at his company and he's too nice to tell you to get lost. Don't push your luck. So that's what Dean had told her. No wonder the hostility. In her mind, Dean was the rich CEO with the Escalade and the estate. And I was some low-level employee clawing after her boyfriend. It was absurd. Tiffany turned to her friends, voice rising. You know what this slut does? Every single day, glued to my boyfriend's car. I couldn't get rid of her. I put up a note telling her to back off, And she got so pissed, she called the cops on Dean for workplace harassment. He's had to drive me to work early and double back for her just to protect the company's reputation. I have never in my life met anyone with skin this thick. My eyes widened. So that explained the constant lateness. He'd been chauffeuring Tiffany first the whole time, then looping back for me.
All right, Dean.
You want to play me for a fool?
Fine.
No more mercy. I pulled out my phone and called legal. Get a team out to the Hamptons estate immediately. Tiffany snatched the phone from my hand and smashed it on the floor. God, you are such a faker. Your estate? This is my boyfriend's. Her friends piled on. She hasn't even bagged the rich guy yet, and she's already claiming his house. Some girls are just born desperate. They see money, and they drop to their knees like dogs. Disgusting. Tiffany, you're way too nice. If it were me, I'd have ripped her mouth open by now. Hearing them, Tiffany's confidence swelled. She grabbed my collar. You hear that? Everybody knows what you are. Then her eyes caught my neck and lit up. That pearl necklace. Looks expensive. You spread your legs for that too. She yanked hard and ripped it off. It happened so fast I didn't even have time to react. The necklace was in her hand. My blood went cold. Give it back. Tiffany grinned at my sudden panic. Oh, nervous now? Must be worth something. It's not about money, I said, my voice tight. It means everything to me. Give it back. I reached for it. That necklace was my mother's vintage pearl necklace. I'd been a sickly child, hospitalized at 4 years old, and unresponsive. The doctors told my parents to prepare for the worst. My mother couldn't accept it. She went to every church across the state, lighting candles and praying on her knees. She had this necklace blessed for me. And somehow, impossibly, I pulled through. But my mother never recovered. She passed not long after. Before she died, she pressed the pearls into my hand and made me promise to keep them safe. Everyone froze. Tiffany and her friends stopped mid-motion, their heads turning toward the door. Car doors opened in perfect synchronization. Men in black suits streamed toward the house, stone-faced and sharp-eyed. Leading them was a man in a tailored charcoal suit with gold-rimmed glasses, Julian Cross, my general counsel. Behind him, 24 legal staff and security personnel fanned out. Everyone held file folders and body cameras. The entrance was sealed tight. Tiffany's friends gaped. What's happening? Why are all these people here? This has to be for someone important. Obviously, it's Dean's doing. He brought Tiffany home for the first time. He's throwing her a welcome reception. Oh, that makes sense. So they're here to pay their respects to Tiffany. Tiffany's expression brightened. She released my hair, smoothed her clothes, and stepped forward like the lady of the house. Can I help you? She said, expectant and smug. What's all this about? Julian ignored her completely. His eyes swept the room and landed on me, battered on the floor, blood at my lip, hair a wreck. His face went dark. He strode over and helped me to my feet. Miss Shaw, are you all right? His voice was quiet, but the deference in it was absolute. The room went still. Tiffany blinked. Then she burst out laughing. Miss Shaw? You're calling this freeloading bitch Miss Shaw? She doubled over. This broke-ass loser? Her friends joined in. You've got the wrong person, buddy. She's just some employee at Tiffany's boyfriend's company. She's been chasing her boss for months. Yeah, nothing about her is executive material. Get your eyes checked. Julian's voice cut through like a blade. Enough. The room dropped silent. The woman you assaulted, he said, slow and deliberate, is Sienna Shaw, CEO of Pinnacle Equity Group. One beat of silence. Then louder laughter exploded. This is insane. If she's the CEO, then who exactly is Tiffany's boyfriend? She can't even afford a cab. You think she runs a corporation? Oh, I get it. You're actors. She couldn't compete with Tiffany, so she hired you guys to put on a little show and scare us? How much did Sienna pay you to pretend? I'll double it. Let me play CEO for a day. Tiffany smirked at Julian. If you're going to run a con, at least make it believable. You picked the wrong identity to steal. Don't you know I'm dating Dean Lewis? the CEO of Pinnacle Equity Group. Julian's brow lifted. Dean Lewis. He paused. Miss Shaw's driver? Tiffany's face twisted. Driver? Are you insane? My boyfriend is not a driver.
He's the CEO.
He's her boss. Julian smiled coldly. Idiot. He turned to his security team. Secure the scene. Photograph every piece of damage. No one leaves. His gaze swept the room. You put your hands on Miss Shaw. You will answer for it. The team moved in. Tiffany stumbled backward. What do you think you're doing? My boyfriend is Dean Lewis, the CEO. You lay a finger on me, he'll destroy you. Her friends rallied, though their voices sounded shaky. Dean loves Tiffany. You're picking a fight with him. He's got billions. Don't be stupid. Tiffany called Dean. Tell him to bring people. Let's see them try to keep this up. Tiffany fumbled for her phone and dialed. It rang several times before Dean picked up. She screamed into it. Dean, get to the estate right now. There are people here causing trouble. They're saying they're going to hold us. Get here now. Dean's voice was jagged with panic. Tiffany, what's happening? Calm down and talk to me. That freeloader, who's been riding your car. She showed up at the estate with a bunch of actors claiming she's the CEO and you're her driver. Dean, I'm scared. Silence filled the line. Dean, are you hearing me? When are you coming? Dean swallowed. Tiffany, I'm on my way. Just don't do anything rash until I get there.
Fine.
Hurry. Tiffany hung up and fixed me with a venomous glare. You're done. Dean's coming. Let's see you keep this act up then. I took a seat and said nothing. Julian crouched beside me. Miss Shaw, do you want medical attention first? I shook my head. We'll wait for Dean. Tiffany heard me and laughed. Still pretending. Let's see how long that lasts. Her friends fed off her confidence. When Dean gets here, he'll deal with these clowns. Breaking into Dean's estate and running this bluff? These people are out of their minds. They want to see what a real CEO looks like. Dean's about to give them a demonstration. Tiffany's teeth were clenched. None of them are getting out of this. Dean will make sure of it. Julian snorted. Dean? A driver? He couldn't handle us if he wanted to. Tiffany's eyes blazed. Bullshit. My boyfriend drives an Escalade. He owns a waterfront estate. He's nobody's driver. You're just trying to gaslight me so this whore can swoop in and steal him. Julian looked at her like she was something stuck to his shoe. You're too stupid to help. The Escalade belongs to Miss Shaw. The estate belongs to Miss Shaw. Dean is her employee. That's it. Tiffany didn't even hesitate. Bullshit. If all of this is hers, then why has she been freeloading off my boyfriend's car every day? I almost laughed. Freeloading? It's my car. Dean drives me because that's his job. Why he told you he's the CEO, and why he brought you to my estate, you need to ask him yourself. Tiffany refused to hear it. You think I'm falling for this? You saw Dean was on his way, and you panicked. You're trying to mess with my head so you can slither in and steal him. You're jealous of me. Her friends echoed her.
Exactly.
She's jealous Tiffany landed a wealthy guy, and she's pulling this stunt to break them up.
Such a cheap tactic.
We're not buying it. Then footsteps pounded up the front path. Every head turned toward the door. Dean had arrived. Dean staggered in, out of breath, a pumpkin spice latte still clutched in his hand. The moment he saw me and Julian standing in the middle of the wreckage, all the blood drained from his face. Tiffany's friends rushed toward him. Dean, finally. This woman, Sienna, hired a bunch of actors to intimidate us. They're saying Sienna is the CEO, that this estate is hers, the car is hers, and you're just her driver.
Exactly.
And they said they were going to detain us and make us pay. Dean, you have to back us up here. And Tiffany, too. Yeah, let these clowns see what a real CEO looks like. Show them who they're messing with. Dean stood frozen. His eyes crawled over the trashed living room. The blood on my lip. My matted hair. Then his gaze dropped to the floor and found the broken pearls scattered everywhere. His pupils contracted sharply. He recognized that necklace.
Hank had told him about it when he trained him.
The grandmother's heirloom. The one piece of Sienna's mother she had carried for over 2 decades. The untouchable one. Now it lay in pieces. Dean's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Tiffany rushed to his side and laced her arm through his, her voice trembling. Dean, you're finally here. These people hurt me.
Call someone.
Have them arrested. She pointed at me and Julian, especially those two. They keep saying you're a driver. They say your car and your house belong to that woman. Tell everyone the truth. Tell them it's all yours. Dean didn't move. Dean, Tiffany tugged at his arm. What's wrong with you? Say something. Dean raised his head and looked at me. Panic and pleading swam in his eyes. He pulled free of Tiffany's grip and walked over to me. Then, like before, he leaned in and whispered low enough that only I could hear. Miss Shaw, please.
Help me.
I leaned back in my chair and watched him. Just play along, he begged. Just one time. Pretend I'm the CEO and you work for me.
Please.
My dad's health is failing. He's always wanted me to settle down. Tiffany's a great girl. She treats me well. I really want to make this work. If she finds out I'm just a driver, she's gone. For my dad, Miss Shaw, just once. I swear I'll never be late again. I'll never put her in your car again. Whatever you want. He kept his voice so low I could barely hear him, but every word was a joke. I stared at him for a long moment and let out a quiet laugh.
Dean.
How dare you say that to me? Dean flinched. His eyes darted back toward Tiffany. Miss Shaw, he hissed desperately. Keep your voice down. I didn't. I hired you out of respect for your father. I showed you patience. I let things slide. And what did you do? You brought your girlfriend into my car every day. You let her humiliate me. You let her tape that note to my seat. You let her trash my estate, assault me, and destroy my property. I tilted my head. And now you want a favor? Sweat beaded on Dean's forehead. His jaw worked, but nothing came out. Your father's sick, I said. He got you this job, so you could earn a steady income and take care of yourself. Not so you could use my car and my house to lie to women. Dean's voice broke. Miss Shaw, I wasn't. I didn't mean. Didn't mean what? To tell Tiffany you were the CEO? To bring her to my estate and claim it was yours? To drive my car and pretend you were rich? I leaned forward. You know what that's called, Dean? Fraud. Dean nearly collapsed. Miss Shaw, I'm sorry. I just wanted to keep her. You wanted her so badly you used my assets to sell a lie. Did you ever stop to think what that lie would cost me? I gestured at the room. They beat me. They destroyed my mother's necklace. So tell me, Dean, why would I ever help you? Dean's face was ghost white. His whole body was trembling. I can pay for it. You can pay for it. My voice went flat. That necklace was my mother's dying gift. Tell me what currency you'd use for that. Dean had nothing. Tiffany had had enough. She marched over, yanked Dean back, and planted herself between us. What are you two whispering about? She shot Dean a suspicious look. Is this slut hitting on you again? Dean opened his mouth, then shut it.
Dean.
Why aren't you answering me? What did she say to you? Did she threaten you? Tiffany's voice sharpened. Don't be afraid of her. If she threatened you, we'll call the cops. I'm not letting some freeloader ruin our lives. Dean finally lifted his head. He looked at her, then at me. His lips trembled, and what came out was barely a whisper. Tiffany, stop talking. Tiffany's face went blank. What? Why should I stop? Are you seriously falling for her act? Dean shook his head, his voice strangled. It's not what you think. Tiffany's eyes went wide. Not what I think. Then what is it? Don't tell me this bitch was actually telling the truth. She let out a disbelieving laugh. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Dean, shut them up.
Right now.
Tell everyone who's the CEO and who's the employee. Her friends piled on.
Yeah, Dean.
Set the record straight. A broke nobody and some rented suits are running a con on your own property. Put them in their place. Tiffany shoved his shoulder.
Dean.
Speak. Dean's head dropped. His words came out so quiet they barely registered. They're telling the truth. The room went dead silent. Tiffany's smile froze on her face. What? Dean couldn't meet her eyes. Miss Shaw told the truth. She's the CEO of Pinnacle Equity Group. The car is hers. The estate is hers. I'm just her driver. Each word landed like a hammer. Tiffany's face cycled through shock, disbelief, then fury. She went pale, then red, then purple. What did you just say? Her voice shook with barely contained rage. Tiffany, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you. I just liked you so much, and I was afraid you'd look down on me if you knew I was just a driver. So I... Smack. Tiffany's palm cracked across his face with enough force to echo through the silent living room. Dean didn't dodge. He just stood there, face full of guilt. You lied to me, Tiffany hissed, her voice shaking. You told me you were the CEO. You told me you owned the Escalade, the estate, that you were worth billions. And, the whole time, you were just a driver? A broke, pathetic driver? Dean's voice was barely there. Tiffany, I'm sorry. Sorry? Tiffany shrieked. I told everyone my boyfriend was a CEO, a mogul, a success story. And now I find out you're nothing? How do I face anyone ever again? She grabbed his collar, demanding to know why he'd ruined her life. Her friends stood frozen, looking like they'd swallowed poison. Enough, I said. It wasn't loud, but the room went quiet. Tiffany and Dean both turned to me. You two can fight about this forever for all I care, I said. But right now, we're going to settle a few things. I stepped toward Dean.
1.
You gave unauthorized access to my estate, which resulted in extensive property damage. That's criminal trespass and destruction of property.
2.
You used my vehicle without authorization to transport others. Unauthorized use of a motor vehicle.
3.
You lied about who you are and used my assets to deceive someone emotionally. That's civil fraud. Dean blanched further with every count. 4. I pointed to the pearls on the floor. That was my mother's heirloom. Your girlfriend destroyed it. You're liable. Dean's legs buckled. He dropped to his knees. Miss Shaw, I never meant for any of this. Please give me one more chance. I swear this will never happen again. He pressed his forehead to the floor. Tiffany stood over him, her face a mess of fury, humiliation, and something else, guilt she couldn't name. Her friends shrank against the walls, too terrified to look at me. Julian stepped forward with a file. Miss Shaw, everything's been documented. Photos, video, your injuries, all recorded. I flipped through it and nodded. Then I looked down at Dean. Get up. Dean's head lifted, a flicker of hope in his eyes. You're forgiving me? No, I said evenly. I'm telling you to stand. What happens next is up to the sheriff's deputies. From this moment on, your father's history with me means nothing. Dean collapsed into himself, a heap on the floor. Watching him, Tiffany finally seemed to understand how serious this was. She bit her lip and took a tentative step toward me. Miss Shaw, look, this was all a misunderstanding. I didn't know the car and house were yours. I thought. You thought what? I met her eyes. You thought I was nobody so you could hit me? Destroy my property? I've already called the sheriff's department. They'll be here any minute. I'm pressing charges for assault and destruction of property. Tiffany's face drained to chalk. She spun toward Dean, her voice cracking. Dean, say something. You told me you'd always protect me. You said you'd take care of me. So, do something. Dean looked up from his knees, his eyes hollow. Tiffany, I can't even protect myself. How am I supposed to protect you? She had no answer. Sirens sounded outside. Deputies entered, and I walked them through everything. Dean's unauthorized use of my estate, Tiffany breaking in with her friends, the assault, the damage. I made it absolutely clear. Officers, these people publicly defamed me, physically assaulted me, trashed my estate, destroyed my furniture, drank through my wine collection, and shattered a family heirloom. I am not accepting any settlement or mediation. I want this pursued to the fullest extent. The deputy nodded and moved quickly to take everyone involved into custody. Before they left, they instructed me to bring all documentation, purchase receipts for the damaged items and my medical report, to the county sheriff's station so they could itemize every charge. I went to the hospital, got my wounds treated, then headed to the station with all the paperwork. Inside, Tiffany's friends looked nothing like the loudmouths who'd attacked me. The only reason they'd ever sucked up to Tiffany was because they believed Dean Lewis was the CEO of Pinnacle Equity Group. They thought Tiffany was about to become the queen of a billion-dollar empire, so they'd groveled. Now they knew their queen was just a driver's girlfriend. And the woman they'd beaten was the one person they should have been desperate to impress. The irony sat on their faces like a stomach bug. Every look they aimed at Tiffany was a knife. Tiffany herself was a hollow shell. This wasn't just about the massive financial liability. The girl who declared she hated freeloaders more than anything had just discovered she was the biggest one of all. That truth had gutted her. The deputies went through my records line by line. The wine alone that they'd guzzled came out to over $1.5 million in damages. Add the ruined furniture, and the total was close to $3 million. The number hit the room like a bomb. $3 million. That was an impossible sum for every single person there. They couldn't pay it, so they pivoted to indignation. You're already rich. Why do you care about this much money? One of them snapped.
Yeah.
This was just a misunderstanding. We cleared it up. There's no need to ruin our lives. So we drank some wine and messed up a couch. You're CEO. Are you seriously that petty? Your injuries aren't even that bad. Let it go. They said it like it made sense. Like my wealth meant I should absorb the loss. Like not being dead meant I should swallow the abuse. I smiled coldly. You were full of attitude when you were throwing punches and draining my wine collection. Now you want me to back off? You had the guts to do it. Show some guts and pay for it. When they realized I wasn't budging, the blame shifted. Every ounce of it landed on Tiffany. This is your fault, you idiot. You didn't even know who your boyfriend was before you ran your mouth. Right? He was a driver. A driver. And you paraded him around like he was a billionaire. You're the real freeloader here, and you dragged us into your mess. You told us you were the future Mrs. Pinnacle Equity. Have you got no shame? Tiffany, you pay for this. Alone. We're not chipping in a cent. If you hadn't invited us to that estate, none of this would have happened. The $3 million is yours. Leave us out of it.
Guys, never assume the person holding the door open is the assistant. They might actually be the CEO paying your entire existence. Also, if your boyfriend suddenly starts owning Escalades, waterfront estates, and billion-dollar companies overnight, maybe, just maybe, ask for a LinkedIn profile before you start planning the wedding. And Tiffany? She learned a very important life lesson. If you're going to call someone a freeloader, first make sure you're not emotionally freeloading off a whole imaginary billionaire lifestyle built by a guy who's just trying to survive his 9 to 5. Basically, don't judge people by the seat they sit in, because sometimes they own the entire car, the road, and the dealership. And most importantly, if you see a CEO boyfriend starter pack, just remember, real CEOs don't need to announce it. Their lawyers usually do. So yeah, moral of the story, if you're going to fake rich your way into love, at least Google the CEO first, or you might end up unemployed, heartbroken, and legally broken 4K.